Welcome back to Control. We're about to enter the central executive area. Bum bum bum. So this red light, this red light means there's a control point nearby. Except for in a few cases, and you quickly learn that.
Hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss. Burrowing into everything in this place. Is the hiss your enemy? Alright, it's our enemy.
So here you can see...
It's contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
You done talking? So here you can see what the normal light looks like. You can see it's this blue light. It works very well. These red lights, you might think that they're like an alternate setup, like a different tiles or different textures or different models or something, but they're literally just red lights. And you quickly learn that that means there's a control point nearby that you can take over. So we're going to be accessing that control point and taking over pretty soon here. I'm just checking for loot first. The loot you might have noticed in the other room was just a radio, and we can't use the radio because I turned off any music that might cause YouTube to shoot me in the back of the head. So here we can see a little bit of the brutalism architecture that they use to mean that the building is unhappy or compromised. We'll talk about that more later. For now, however... Now, most people probably jump down there and get ambushed, but I am too smart for that because I hate when people talk, so I was wandering through shooting everybody that talked, and what do you know? Turns out most of the enemies are like that. There is, in fact, a boss enemy in here, I think. I remember dying to him the first time I played. But I don't think he spawns until I properly go down there. Yeah, I don't see him spawning in. Whew. There he is. Might as well kill this dude first, then. He can kill you pretty quick, and he's almost immune to melee attacks. There you can see that I could have run away and extended. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 You done?
Cleanse the control point.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means press X. So when you cleanse the control point, all the brutalism architecture goes away, which is... We'll talk about that later. It is certainly a choice.
Holy shit. You did it. We did it. Hello.
Anyway, I'm immortal, so I didn't really care to run away and prolong that fight. I just kind of tanked it. Now we're in this room, and this room is very different than it was before. It's much larger, and we can see a very clear second floor veranda all the way around. We're going to talk about this room in detail, but just in passing, notice that there is a massive height difference, a huge ceiling, and that is another thing that is very brightly lit, and it focuses our attention on this giant pyramid.
Is it safe to come out?
We're going to meet Pope. She's one of my favorites.
I can't tell you how happy I am to talk to somebody sane.
The feeling's mutual. Yeah, I'm Pope, Emily Pope, Dr. Darling's assistant.
My turn. Should I lie?
Jesse Faden. I'm just visiting.
I should have lied.
I love that line.
Shit. You're the new director. Hold on. We're coming out.
Here is where we learn that everybody knows that we're the new director. Except us.
Director Faden.
Call me Jesse.
Okay, Jesse. I'm Emily. Like somehow this hostile force, this
Hiss?
that works. Somehow the hiss managed to infiltrate the building without any warning.
And just like that, my name for it is official. The Hiss.
We're in full lockdown. It seems to have spread everywhere and to everyone, not protected by an HRA.
Those are the vest
And
things that she's wearing.
Extraordinarily, you. You are... Trench is... I'm sorry, I'm talking this whole situation.
Trench is dead. Shot.
Ah,
I found.
Do I tell her?
the service weapon.
Also, it's hard to make out, but push the hiss out.
Did that? And you entered the building. How?
I'm not ready to tell her about you yet.
A janitor let me in.
I love it. This is fucking unbelievable. It's... I can't even... Look, Jesse, I have a...
Like, not yet.
If you can cleanse... Because
I don't shit, but okay. You with me?
So we met Emily Pope, and she gave us
Push
some
the hiss out.
basic information that we needed to know, and she also told us to try and clear out some of the talking jerks by pointing at their head and focusing really hard. We'll see how that goes later. For now, however, I think it's worth talking about this room a little bit more. A lot of the power of the oldest house comes from these large atrium-style rooms, just in terms of the fact that they have a huge impact on how we view things. They leave a much more indelible mark than a hallway. But these rooms are also very complex. They have lots of rooms off to the side, lots of areas you can go. In the fullness of the game, these atriums turn into hubs, and you become very familiar with them. But at the beginning of the game, it can be quite overwhelming to try and figure out which direction is forward, and which places you've been to, and all that jazz. So in this case, we're on the second level of this area, and we're looking around, and we can see there's like lots and lots of stuff going on. What's back here? Is that where we came from? I don't think so. Is it? Maybe. Who can tell? And because we've got all of these exits, we're never really sure which way is forward and which way is not. That's part of the game. You're supposed to get to know the house, and a big part of getting to know the house is getting lost in the house. And at some point you'll come back and you'll be like, okay, well, that wasn't the right direction, and then later on you'll go back there when it is the right direction, and you'll be like, oh, okay, you know, that sort of thing. Here you can see a little flashing red light. I can't shoot it. What a shame. Well, that's another radio that we can't use. More offices, and we're basically just looting all these offices because that's what you do in these kinds of games. I really like the loot in this game. The loot is often documents, which can be read. You know, you can actually learn from them, and I think that's great. But the loot can also be some very strange things, like, you know, memories of the house and stuff like that. And I love that kind of crafting material that makes no sense but adds a ton to the feel of the game. It all works really, really well. And I don't know how you'd put it in a box, but it works great. For example, there's a house memory in a box. So we don't really know what's up with any of this stuff yet. Oh, look. There's the director's office. We're back where we started. So we don't really know what's up with anything like this, for example. Clearance level 4? Seriously? What's up with all the post-it notes? Well, the answer will become clear if you ever get clearance level 4, then come back to take a look. We can't even see inside that office, because this office stops right there. But this is a good opportunity to talk about the limits of post-processing. So here we're entering into a dark room, and you can see that if we look at this side of this wall here, it gets this strange kind of grainy, blown-out look. I'm not sure how clear that is on YouTube, and my brightness is set just a notch above where it should be. So if you can't make it out, basically it looks like everything on this side of the wall is made out of leather. There's really, really aggressive screen space moire They're trying to take it from being pitch black and bringing it up a notch to being in deep shadow, and they do that using some screen space dither. And when they have to do it too much, it looks a little strange. It looks a little forced. That's just that everything has limits. It's not really built to work at that particular darkness level. More loot. Here you can see some cool machines. These are a nice little piece of decoration. They don't make any sense. There's no wires coming out of them going anywhere. But they're cute, and they make this office feel like it's for nerds, which it is. Look at all these nerd things. This part might remind you of Prey. There's some very similar design philosophies in terms of how the offices look. Here you can see one of their basic policies, one of their basic design setups. They use a repeating element, like usually some kind of Windows setups or something similar, and they just repeat it enough that you feel that it exists as a repeating element, but not that it's the same repeating element. It feels like your eyes should gloss over it, not just feel it's repetitive. You don't look at these walls and go, oh look, they used the same window mesh over and over and over. You feel like it makes sense because that's what they would have done when they were building the building, and it's just long enough that it doesn't feel burdensome. They do the same thing with almost all of the elements. For example, over here you can see they've got just a couple of different kinds of binders and stuff like that, and they repeat them over and over and over. But because they're so boring, you don't notice that they repeat over and over and over. There are some better examples of that, but they'll have to wait until I can find them. I can't seem to find them at the moment. That's fine. We'll work on it. What are you doing here? You're dead. So now we've explored the top floor, at least partially, and there are some places that we would like to go we can't quite reach. For example, that little veranda over there. But we can't get there from here. Not yet. On the bottom floor, we could go to wherever we're supposed to go next, but I think we're going to go ahead and kill a lady, and then we will move on to the next episode. Spoiler alert, she dies.
Didn't work. The hiss has burrowed too deep. Ripping it out rips them apart.
Now we're going to have her say that again. So we got the video of her doing it, then her explaining it, now she's explaining it again.
It was worth a shot. Thank you, Dur.
I'm gonna tell her I'll risk it.
The Bureau came in, and I've been looking.
That's enough.
So
Maybe that's too much already.
she's here looking for her brother, but her brother was
Can't
kidnapped
tell her about Dylan and the
back
rest
in
yet.
Ordinary, and so she just explained
You were
that.
at Ground Zero as a child? It was one of the big ones, and before my time. And very classified. I can try to dig out some old files for you. My boss, Casper Darling, would know, but he's missing. I think he knew this was coming, or suspected. He came up with the HRAs, the Hadron Resonance Amplifiers. I think they're what saved us. Or a few of us.
And that's what you needed to know.
And Director Trench would know.
Trench, the ghost, or whatever he is, he mentioned something called the hotline. Said I should find it.
Get us back on track to find the hotline
It's
again.
another object of power, like the gun, an old Bakelite telephone. A direct line of communication between the director and the board.
It's a shame. They already explained all this, so we're going to get
That's
it
my next
explained
stop.
again. Well, I'll skip it.
That's Tomasi's department. He's the head of communications. I don't think he had an HRA. He kind of made a point about not wearing one earlier. Keep an eye out.
Now we get
They
an
call me the
introspective
director.
look into her head.
But that's not me. I'm not a director type.
Just in case you misunderstood what's going on, she's not actually here to be the director.
Why am I here?
She's so confused.
I think you already know.
No. There we go.
I know this is all new to you, so don't hesitate to ask me anything you want to know. There are no stupid questions.
But there are stupid
The door to
answers.
The comms department is just outside the boardroom back in the lobby. They should have gotten it open by now.
So
Follow the signs to the mailroom. You can get to the hotline containment chamber through there.
So one of the problems I've got with the writing in this game is simply that they repeat everything over and over. And that's common in all of these games. It's hardly specific to this one. But it does mean that even when I'm playing it single player, I'm kind of wishing that these people would just shut up. And when I'm trying to talk about level design and they tell me what the hotline is for the 50th time, I get a little bit short-tempered. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think that's plenty for now. I'll see you folks tomorrow. I don't think we'll be starting from exactly here, because I think we'll be starting from here. Exciting stuff. See you later.